the result of some types of intelligence.
Correct.
But you're saying that, so your conclusion is in your question.
Because
that's why we don't find those things without the influence of human beings.
Exactly.
You understand?
Yeah, Dominic, you're just falling for the trap. What if?
I don't know. Am I falling for the trap, or is he falling for the? There's no trap in my argument.
He made you answer what he wanted to hear.
He's starting with the conclusion. He's working back. So he's like saying, if we follow intelligent design, then will we conclude it's intelligent design?
But Dominic, I don't think this is like a trap. It's such a bad argument. I wouldn't worry about following. Follow his script. Just see where it goes.
I think he already concluded.
The watch on the beach argument. We've all heard this shit.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but Dominic, I'm expecting you to, point out the logical flow. Don't fall. You're just following it. That's not very interesting.
Well, I was just trying to give a fun kind of exercises to prove that an intelligent creator.
You weren't doing that. You were trying to make a claim.
Just ping me. Let's create a
phenomenon. I can't make it. I can't prove. It's impossible to prove that God exists, right?
Well, thank you for your honesty.
But it's impossible to prove that He doesn't exist.
Well, hold on. Let me try it.
That's not necessarily true.
It's not necessary to prove it doesn't. Just ping me. Let's create a phenomenon. I'm ready to receive the law.
That's called Russell's Teapot. We should all know this already.
Your analogy.
Repeat this every fucking day for 2 years now. People don't fucking read anything. It's annoying.
So the analogy was trash because you said, what if there was some setup on a beach where the rocks were in a you're describing intelligent design and saying, what if this would it be not
Wait, that's just an atheism class.
You're starting with the conclusion.
Well, of course. Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem with your theory. You're saying that I'm starting with intelligence.
With the watchmaker argument repurposed.
Well, you're saying that I'm starting with intelligence.
I'm not familiar with the watchmaker argument. This is nothing more than a repurposed watchmaker argument, which has been debunked, to death already.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem with the theory. You said I started with an intelligent design, so you that's defeating the argument. Well,
okay,
no. If I'm starting with an intelligent design, and that's your argument that I'm starting with an intelligent design, then me saying the universe is much more of an intelligent design than anything that I could come up with.
Why can't I reject that claim?
You can't reject that claim. You can't.
Do you realize that starting with your conclusion is not an argument? Do you realize that?
A lot of people don't realize that.
But you can't reject that.
You can't start with a conclusion.
James, explain to me why I can't reject that claim.
Because existence is much more complex than anything that I could come.
Okay, this is the Naja's Law book. Naja is just going to read some Thelemitic texts. Those who call us Thelemites shall do no wrong.
Yes. Indeed. Oh God, lol.
What, man? What? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
I'm so worried about you. Listen, you almost just choked on your.
I'm not talking about fucking taking it. What is it, brother?
Yeah, I don't think morning people benefit. Right? Like right here, right out here, sunrise is 5:30. If you like daylight savings, sunrise is 6:30. And if you just like don't care about the clock and get up at sunrise and do your morning shit, in one case the cafe is open, the other one is not. We doing it right? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm like doing a positive, negative, and I'm not sure in my brain right now, and I'm not. It just none of like all of it is fucking stupid, but I think the majority of people would prefer to have, like, since we're apparently like glued to this thing where most businesses
outside of that matrix, outside of that system, so you can enact change, right?
Yes, this is what I'm saying, bro. This is what this.
طب انت نمتنا على الارض.
فمحكم.
انت تقول الفلوس والغسيل والكوتشي بقول على المكوى هناك جوتشي. تمام. احنا كنا بنمشي
السلام عليكم.
حد دخل الروم؟ واحد دخل الروم؟
لا.
ايه الصوت ده؟ انا اتفاجئت.
ما علينا. تمام. قلت له لا جوتي مين يابا والناس نايمين. ده احنا كنا بنغسل بايدينا ورجولنا ونعصر ونغني يا نانا يا غسيلي الغسيل بوظ ايديا والصابون جوه في عينيا علشان اغسل انا. فبتتكلموا في ايه؟ واخد بالك يا عم؟ وليه؟
People video quest when I with can you not ask my quest? Mata jibu nasa jaki jakarabo. Mata jibu godoro jakarabo moyota Muhammad. Ajeri moyota Muhammad. But don't do that.
No.
Mata jibu geribe karabaja bita. Mata remove from in the room kelomon gen take the asma kalam tanade asanasa na bas magari fi kotore na konusu fi nasmunu the nas jarata na nuel victims. Naza bija mungkin do katulina nuel kama bonusu bekas makama bisabina. Ina masili yontani nas minini ganke na rasa nuel asina gisa bekaso ma.
Jara mona la konya ya kusum.
Okay? Yakona naze why jade sim talking. Kulu jengede yade de kwale de jenge minabie. Uma to min meseria. You know? Uma
Gabriel gono malu sire.
Apart that min meseria. Let's call that to go secretary.
Conclude the CPI.
Yeah. So don't close up. Don't give us these people cannot reason. You have a reason for them for years. Did they give you an answer? They keep going on with their policy. So whatever we talk here, I can give them one. Okay, what?
Does he get one of the laws?
Like scientific means, we'll put it that way, to be as decisive as possible. So, dude, life, is that still the concept of pre-sub? Like, there's concepts that are not presuppositional that can be verified, and the only way that they're verified is through empiricism. I think that you mentioned empiricism, so I'm going to ask you and use your word.
You're asking about concepts? Because you just said concepts.
Okay, if you don't want to answer and focus on my terminology, that's fine. Concepts, like ideas that can be verified, true or false, but they need the ability to be.
This is your definition of what you want to talk about right now, because you're just missing them.
So then focus on the point. Don't focus on my definitions.
What's the point?
Like I didn't focus on your definitions, right? I focused on what you said in your article. So I didn't focus on, and when I focused on your words, I used those words in the conversations that we were having so that I didn't misrepresent you. It wasn't like to try to say a definitional concept, you know?
You're just saying a bunch of word salad here.
Okay.
Like it's still what I said stands still, right? And
No, I don't think it does.
You
No,
don't give me any good reason why not.
Your paper says, I think, like 17 times, pre-sup. So
Yeah, we already discussed that.
Is that something? If there's something
this is what you normally talk about.
That means that it has to be true because it's presupposed, right? And then you're fitting your position inside of what you're defining. You understand that's like not the way that the world works, right?
You're committing a logical fallacy before you even get out. The two of you are narrating this.
Hey, Goldie.
And to tell you,
Hey, Goldie.
Hey. God were angels.
Yes, but we're in Genesis 6 says the way angels.
But see, it
This is the sons of God.
It doesn't verbatim say that, but I'm just pretty much writing shit down. Yeah, where y'all at, man? Y'all drinking? Y'all tired too? Cooking.
Ain't no woman sending news to a motherfucker she don't like. No.
How they do that every? Well, I don't
No.
like it.
No.
They do that every day on it.
No, they
They do
don't.
that every day on it. They send shit to motherfuckers that they'll never see. What's the difference?
They never see is one thing, but somebody they don't like is another.
Better change your name, nigga, to Boogeyman.
Now you watched it right here when I put this in the chat.
Experience, regardless whether it's monologue or dialogue.
Now, for God, that's absolutely true. But arguments from atheism is not necessary.
Now, here's the difference that I would say to CM. There could be a concept of denying any and all gods, right? The God concept could be a precept concept. But that would come down to, are you talking about a deist God versus a theistic God? Now, a theistic God makes claims.
Exactly.
So therefore, if we address the theistic God's claims, that's not precept. But if some atheist out there is going to say that to a deist who just says, hey, God created and then he stepped away and has never spoken to humans, then I would say that that's a different conversation.
It is a totally different conversation. Nobody argues against deism. It's what's called in the Paparian sense. It's unfalsifiable. There's nothing to talk about. The universe, how we experience it, how we see it right now, it's all everything would be identical whether it started through some natural causes or there was a Aristotelian prime mover or a deist god or something behind it. The universe would be indistinguishable. So there's no point.
I started doing something. I started getting lost. Strange thoughts.
A deist god. Like, you're not. Well, deist or theist? Because, like I said, because you're completely
that
right.
guy.
He is.
Dude, like.
Yeah, well, I wasn't following the whole time, but I agree with you. A theist god who interferes with the universe and stuff, that can be, you can experiment.
Other people are.
Whether someone's that god.
21.
Whatever.
What do you do for work?
You can rule him out. I mean, this is. Just for a deist god, you can't do that at all. So nobody will.
Fundraisers, they don't even want people that only have $300.
I know you're talking about
God did try to
he left.
present that.
He left.
He didn't say
he
deism. I'll say that. He
American
didn't
stage,
use the word
dude.
deism, but he did try to present that as like, oh, that's totally possible. But whatever.
I say the question that the deist god is totally possible is kind of irrelevant or it's vacuous. It's like a trivial.
It's not necessarily. If he says, if his claim was, which he did say, what's your the thing was, what's your best argument for God existing? And then he just says, here's a paper that mentions quantum mechanics and a God, right? Like, it's not a theistic claim at that point. That's what I was bringing up.
Than most other people's. Like, to me, my foundational pillars are not
Actual
Christianity.
quantum physicists don't talk about God. Like, this is.
If an expert does not have some problem to vex him, he is unhappy.
Or quantum
If a philosopher's teaching is never attacked, he pines away.
Principles,
If critics have no one output by objects, loses possession of his inner self.
Like, the people that do that, physicists don't do that. This is the whole quantum height thing. Just insert the word quantum in front of whatever you want.
Whose soul
Just give it
they
some
have come to see Prince
aura
World.
of like
The
scientific
prince was glad.
legitimacy.
I have desired.
Okay, let's move it on to other people's things.
Quantum healing,
We'll both do that and then
etc.
Take that hit, bro. Take that hit. He's absolutely correct. We need someone to move on.
Please don't scroll.
who's wrong? Wait, what? What are you talking about?
You lose. You're wrong.
How was I wrong?
You just want to move on without accepting things.
Trouble when I fail to do good.
Dude, he agreed with me. What are you talking
No,
about?
we agree on certain points, but not the ultimate point.
Which was, what was the ultimate point?
This is John Kitover, 45th Ward,
So now we're
I'm trying to understand. Wait, what was the ultimate point? Dude, I'm a theist. Do you think I'm a theist?
I think
No, you're not thinking.
You think, do
Dude Light's what's large arguments for intelligent design. You think he actually came up here and said something profound that has us like it's not like the 10,000th time we've heard this argument from intelligent design.
I'm on your side.
I'm on his side, so what are you talking about?
Wait, so no one's disagreeing with each other?
Do you understand what I said, or are you just like being provocative?
I'm just being provocative, I guess. I don't know. I'm being a dumbass.
No, it's okay if you don't understand what I said.
No, I do understand, but
because
dude,
I
feel
don't
like we're talking past each other.
I'm gonna be honest. That's not like a slight on you. I grew up with a speech impediment, so I don't say things as other people say things. So it could be that I said it.
Well, I understand you, John.
No, I understood you too.
Okay.
Alright. So what the fuck are we talking about now?
I don't even know if there's any more theists on stage.
There's no arguments for the existence of a God. That's really the truth. No good arguments.
Carlos, are you a monist? I was told from
I would like to hear Carlos speak. What is that? What is a monist?
Monotheism?
No, monism is like you believe there's only one fundamental substance in the universe.
Oh, monist.
And
okay.
Yeah, monist. Yeah.
I say things differently, like I said.
Yeah, okay.
I think I kind of might be a monist, actually.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that. That's an interesting concept, in my opinion.
It is. And if you guys want to hold to actual reality of physics, hopefully you guys are like string theorists, because maybe string theory fundamentally posits some kind of monism that all fundamental particles are ultimately made up of like tiny vibrating strings and stuff. And so like in that respect it could be, but as it stands right now, and using the current model of the standard model particle physics, etc., the universe does not look monist or whatever. There's about 17 distinct elementary particles, like elementary subatomic particles.
Yeah, but you'd agree, Sam, that if you reduce them, like maybe there's like reasons why they all have their own different charges. Like
that's the whole idea behind string theory. So if we try to zoom in into anything, we can zoom in, we see the atom, past the molecules, we'll see the atoms, past the atoms, we'll see the protons and neutrons, in like the nucleus, and then we'll see the electrons zipping around. Once we get to the electron, we can't zoom in any further. As far as we're concerned, the electron is a fundamental particle. But the neutrons and the protons, neutrons and protons, you could keep zooming in further. And we know that protons and neutrons are made of quarks. Now, the question is, and as far as we know, quarks, again, are elementary in the sense that we haven't been able to zoom in any further to see if the quarks have individual constituents. And I don't think they do. They probably don't. But the string theorists just say that we just don't have enough. We can't produce the energy levels enough sufficient to probe a quark, to be able to zoom in enough to see the constituents of a quark. You would need, so everybody knows CERN, right? The particle accelerator in Switzerland. I forgot, it's like a 27 kilometers in diameter or something. Well, the energy levels produced there are nowhere near the energy levels that we would need to actually probe a quark. We would need like a particle accelerator, probably like the size of the solar system, to reduce the energy levels required to probe a quark. This is why people say that string theory is like barely science, is like philosophy. Because like its predictions are they're like Can we get back to
principles
monism?
are testable, but in practice they're not, or falsifiable. But in practice they're not falsifiable. At least
Get
not
back
with
to
our
monist beliefs. Hey, why would you say that you might be a monist?
Yeah, I think CM was doing a good job kind of explaining the background. The reason I might be a monist is because I've seen a pattern in the history of science where reductionism seems to be like an incredibly useful way to research the universe. And whenever we keep doing that pattern of reducing something further, it seems like they always share deeper constituent qualities. So the fact that we used to think that, let's say, like two different elements were completely different, and then we realized they both were made of atoms, then the atoms are both made of protons and neutrons, and then the protons and neutrons are both made up of quarks. I expect that pattern to continue. It would be very bizarre of me to say that, like, that just goes on and they don't share some fundamental quality.
Okay.
So I think that the pattern that's been going on, I think if it continues to go, which I don't see why it wouldn't, it would just lead you to monism.
Well, what's interesting about that is like the concept of like one of Zeno's paradoxes, right? Like if you travel half of the distance, then you have to travel half more, etc. At some point, we come to the Planck.
Exactly. The Planck scale solves Zeno's paradox. Yeah.
Correct. So at that point, it would seem that dividing up, actually they would be elements at that point because they're under the umbrella of atoms. So I don't understand that, like with quarks and stuff. So why would that lead to monism?
Because like the energy in the universe seems to have come about through the same like moment in time, through the Big Bang, and then through like successive periods of like evolution, it's changed into various different like expressions of that same energy. But it doesn't seem to me that if the whole universe came from like some quantum event, I would think that they all share the same like fundamental energy because it came from the same place.
Wait, I'm sorry. Could you say that again? I didn't understand it.
I said our universe, presumably, it appears to have come from like a quantum event called the Big Bang. So the fact that everything came from the Big Bang leads me to believe that like that quantum, the quantum atmosphere that was going on at that moment in that like deep realm of physics, it doesn't seem to me. It seems way more likely to say that everything came from the same source, therefore it's like the same fundamental source of energy. Then it would say that there would be like fundamental different parts of that same energy.
So
it's just Occam's razor.
Well, as far as I understand about the concept of the Big Bang is that all matter existed, and then it came down to a single point. We call that a singularity. So all matter would not necessarily be the concept that you're bringing up.
All matter.
Am I wrong about that?
The entire universe.
No, see, I'm just asking this guy. Does the concept of all matter existing and then becoming a singularity, as we would call it, and there are scientists that disagree with the concept of calling it a singularity, and let's not get caught up in that semantical argument, but like if the concept of all matter comes down to a single point and then explodes into the universe, do you think that confirms your monist belief?
Well, it doesn't confirm anything in like an absolute sense.
Exactly.
But it suggests, I mean, it implies very strongly that everything, at least in our local representation of space-time, is somehow fundamentally distinct.
Like, I think Abe is making
fundamentally dependent.
Vague claims like Everything's made of energy. Energy can't be created or destroyed, only transferred. So everything's made of the same energy, the same energy that was present